Morning! It's a bit of a chilly one here in Reading, I'm not going to lie. It's early-ish morning, it's about 8 o'clock. I've dropped my little girl at nursery and I've finally got a bit of time to come out into the garden and get my plants, babies, out of the greenhouse and put them in the sunshine. Now, this technique that I'm going to be showing you is called hardening off. I'm really childish and can never resist a little bit of a giggle when I say that phrase, but it is a really important technique. So if you've grown anything indoors or in a greenhouse or anything undercover, then before you plant them out in the garden, you need to kind of acclimatise them to being outside in the garden, because if you don't do this, when you plant them out, they can kind of go into shock, and this stunts their growth sometimes, so they won't grow as well as they would if you have done this. So we are now kind of mid-April, so I'm going to be showing you how to do this with my sweet peas, because I want to get them out in the garden soon. But this also applies for more tender plants, so things like cosmos, your tomato seedlings if you're growing any tomatoes, basically anything that you've grown indoors in a protected environment. Before you put them out, you're going to have to harden them off, because you've kind of got them used to this nice cozy warm environment inside. And rather than just chucking them straight out in the garden, you want to kind of just get them used to it a little bit. So it is still a little bit too early to be doing this for things like cosmos, tomato plants, zinnias, because they're called they're tender annuals basically. So they are natively from hotter environments. So they just need a little bit more heat. So it's still a bit early for those. Certainly in Reading here, so obviously I'm in the south. You want to wait to do that until kind of after your last frost dates. So for me, that's kind of like early May, mid-May. But if you're in the north, obviously that's probably a lot later. You can go online, if you just Google last frost dates and then your location, and it will tell you when those last frost dates are. So once those are passed, you can do this for all of your plants. But at the minute, in mid-April, it's probably safe to do it for things like your sweet peas, things like maybe beetroot that you've sown inside, and you want to get out into the garden, because they're just a little bit hardier. I mean, to be fair for me, I'm going to sow some beetroot later today, and I'm going to sow it straight out into the ground. So it's up to you. If you've sown them indoors, then just make sure, like I said, you get them used to the outside before you just put them straight outside. So all I'm going to do, really simple, head into the greenhouse, get them out and pop them down there in the sunshine to have a little, sunbathe for the day basically. So initially, when you first start doing this, you probably just want to bring them outside for 2 to 3 hours, probably for the first kind of 3 days. And then you can slowly start to extend the time that they spend out in the sun. So sort of go up to maybe 5 or 6 hours, and then up to the full day. So come out first thing in the morning and put them to bed last thing at night. And then once they've kind of done that, then they're ready to go out in the ground. So the whole process probably takes 2 or 3 weeks. No, probably 2 weeks to be fair. 3 is a bit extreme, I suppose. But that can seem a little bit onerous, but actually what I like to do is I kind of just like to make a bit of a mindful activity of it. So I get a cup of tea, I come outside, I check all my plants, which I think is nice to kind of see how they're getting on, and like look for any new seedlings that have popped up in your other trays that are still growing in the greenhouse or on your windowsill, and just pop them outside. And then come lunchtime, obviously at the minute we're all, a lot of us are working from home, so this makes it much more doable. If you're watching this in the future and everybody's back at work, then I suggest doing the first couple of days of doing this over a weekend, so you can come and put them in after about 2 or 3 hours. And then as the time gradually extends, maybe your afternoon cuppa, if you have a little tea break for yourself from doing your work, then you can come and put them back inside, and then obviously start of the day, end of the day. I really enjoy, certainly once it gets to leaving them out for a full day, I really like the end of the day, just kind of big exhalation. The day is done, it's time to relax. And for me, I find it really nice as a kind of punctuation to the end of my day, to be like, right, working day is finished, baby's in bed, time for me to relax now, and I come out, I have a little potter, and I put everything to bed. So yeah, so that's it. It's really, really simple. It's not difficult at all. Obviously I had to explain a little bit of the theory behind it and why it's important to do it. But if you've got any questions, or if you're growing plants and you're not sure whether it's a bit too early to start doing this with them, or whether, you know, you're ready to go and you want to check with me, then please do send me a DM, and I can just say yay or nay basically, or just say, you know, wait till after the last frost, and then you can just Google your last frost date, and yeah, you should be all good. So I hope that's useful, and have a lovely day. Bye.